Just finished watching Newcastle United versus Manchester City. And yes, I'm alone again. Um, that's how it is sometimes. But yeah, let's quickly go through the review of the game. Newcastle had a much better game to me compared to Manchester City. City seem to be lacking a bit. Could it be that they're missing Rodri? Could be. But I do think that their biggest misses were the wingers, Grealish and Bernardo Silva playing out wide isn't really the best combination for a team that is tactically sound like Newcastle. And to me, Grealish slows down the game too much, so they miss that counter attacking ability. And as such, it played into Newcastle's plans. One thing I can say for sure was that Sandro Tonali is that dude. Having been out for an entire year to come back today and have a game like this where he impacted everything from defense to passing to distribution, definitely that's a very good sign for Newcastle. And of course, with Isaac being out, when he comes back, it makes Newcastle a very big threat to the Premiership in terms of what position they can pick up within the league. I spoke about Silva a little bit. Didn't really have a big impact in the game. Had a couple shots coming down to the end where he looks a bit more impactful, but overall wasn't that impactful. In my opinion, Grealish should have been sent off. He had that elbow on Tonali, and then there was the altercation on the offensive end for Newcastle where he and Tonali had another scuffle. So, in my opinion, he should have had two yellow cards and been sent off. Gordon isn't really a central striker, but he played his role as well as he can. Looks much better on the left, and to me, is a much better winger than Grealish, especially when it comes to England picking their side. But that's up for those coaches to decide. In my opinion, Gordon is much more mobile and moves the game along much better compared to Jack Grealish, who kind of slows everything down. Having said that, Jack Grealish was actually key to the goal being scored. He did have the assist after finally beating his man. I think it was Trippier, if I'm not mistaken, and passing the ball off to Graviol, who, of course, uh, is a wonderful footballer. As much as he plays in defense, he can, in my opinion, he can play nearly anywhere on the field. Scoring a very good goal after the cut inside and then placing the shot to the far corner of the goal. Um, yeah, a fantastic game from Gaviol overall, and he had the most pressure on his side in terms of defense. So great game by him. Haaland had a very quiet game by his standards. Didn't really get control. Didn't have much shots on goal. Didn't have much opportunities. And I mean, it's just life, basically making the momentum kind of go back down to normal after scoring so many goals, 9 or 10 in such a short span. It would be a game where you would have less opportunities and not be able to score. And this is one. So that's what, three draws in a row now for Manchester City. This is from since Inter to this game, Newcastle, and of course against Arsenal last weekend. So things aren't going too nicely for City right now, but we all know that City is a second part of the season team, meaning that they're going to kick on when it reaches January, February. That's when they actually play their best football. As for Newcastle, great that they got Tonali back. Murphy had an okay game, but ideally speaking, at the end of the day, great game from Newcastle to hold the champions. And yeah, okay, let's move on to see how Newcastle plays. Hey, but look who's
Yo,
yo! What's up, man? What's up? What's up?
what's up? What's up?
Actually,
What's up?
I actually went through most of the game in terms of the reviews so far. I don't know if you have anything
Mhm.
you want to add in terms of what you saw from Newcastle versus Man City.
I was kind of in and out, so I didn't really get the full perspective on the game now.
Hmm.
It's just that incident with Grealish where he swing the elbow that kind of stood out for me. You see, he didn't get a yellow card initially,
Nope.
which was weird. It goes back to what we were talking about in terms of the the the, the, the haphazard kind of refereeing we've been seeing in both Premier League and La Liga.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if there was a change or what, but I don't know. It's for people who enjoy the game. You want to see it being refereed correctly. You know what the referees being the star of the game, like they does always say. You know.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I mean, it was a good result for Newcastle. Getting the 1-1 draw. City again dropping points. Is that due to De Bruyne and now Rodri being out? Maybe. Could that hamper their title run? I mean, it's still early. You have real faith, boy.
Not Newcastle, sorry, City is a second half team. So February, they're like losing 0 games and dropping 0 points. So I have no faith in any other team being able to be as consistent as them, especially based on the trend for the
Mm-hmm.
next for the second half of the season. So
Right.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, still to be seen because those are 2 key points, two key players for them. De Bruyne should be back sooner than Rodri. They're saying I think it's a groin injury. He has a minor groin injury, but you will see how that goes. But yeah, it's a bit concerning for City to drop those 2 points, those 4 points rather in those 2 weeks. But as you say, they are a second half team, and once they get going, nobody can really stop the train. So let's see if that continues later on into the season.
for sure, for sure. But as you can see the title of the video, right? Sandro Tonali is that dude. Tonali hasn't played for a year and came
Mm,
on and to me was the most active player on that team for Newcastle. He was everywhere. Defense, getting elbowed by Grealish, um, distribution in terms of finding the spaces for Gordon to run into and Murphy to run into. Yeah.
mm.
Tonali's that dude. Newcastle is going to be a problem if Isaac and Tonali are fully healthy for them moving forward.
That's the thing. Health kind of derailed them last season because they were on a nice little trend early in the season. And then somewhere in the middle, they picked up a lot of injuries and kind of hampered their season. You
Mhm.
know, so they are constructed, a very well constructed team, very balanced, give a lot of fight, very well coached as well. So once they can stay healthy, I believe they would make a run for the top of the table. Not necessarily top 3, but they would be fighting for European play next season.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Once everybody stays healthy, I think that they can make that run. But yeah, I think we could end it off there. I mean, we wait for the big game later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Leverkusen
Mm-hmm.
versus Bayern Munich.
Bayern.
So we'll be back to comment on that after watching the game. So as of right now, peace.
Peace.